Do a quick mic check. Let me know if you're in here. All right, seems like we're working, so I'm going to go ahead and start. I am in a few items already. I had issues this morning connecting Tradevate to my TradingView platform. So I don't know what happened there, but I couldn't connect on 3 different computers. This one, my laptop, or my phone for some reason for a while. So to any of my, just to TradingView in general. So I don't know what happened. I finally got it resolved. I actually had to place these trades on, or some trades this morning on Tradevate itself. So I finally got this working about 10 minutes ago, 10 or 20 minutes ago. So as you can see, I'm already in several items. Watching gold here at the top left, S&P top middle, NASDAQ top right, and then Bitcoin lower left. I'm not sure if I'm going to take anything in that or not. And then got the British pound and the Australian dollar in the bottom middle and left, or bottom middle and right, sorry. So I have 4 trades on. NASDAQ really hasn't done anything. I took NASDAQ here when it broke the high. Morning, John. So when NASDAQ broke here, broke that high and closed above that high, I went ahead and took it. So keeping my low, of course, below these lows. So I've been in the negative most of the morning on it after getting in. The entry was at 8:21. So almost an hour here in NASDAQ to go nowhere. As you can see, the bottom 2 here with the Australian dollar. And I don't know why the executions aren't showing on some of these. This one, I went and put, the executions are on. But for some reason, it is not showing on this chart, and I don't know why. And I've even come in and like flipped time frames just to see if maybe that would make it show, and it does not. So I don't know what to tell you guys on that. I don't know why, because it is, I am showing executions, and for some reason that one's not showing. Got in it. I basically, as you can see, I took it. There was several sell signals in here this morning. So I took it here. We had this bearish candle here close below these 2 lows right here. Those were the lows that needed broke. So basically when it closed below that, I went ahead and took that as my sell signal. So this doesn't always happen. You guys know this. It does not always happen like this, where you get in and then it just goes in your direction and then keeps on going. That's like what we wish every trade to happen. That does not happen every time. Wish it did. Of course, the market would be a whole lot different if it did. So I, on both these, the Australian dollar and the British pound, I did not move my stops. So when they hit 1-to-1, I didn't move my stop on it. It came down into here to hit the level 3, which is 2-to-1, move my stop to break even. As you can see, I haven't moved my stop yet. I am going to go ahead and move it. So I captured 90 on it. This is a new account. So I decided, I like to buy accounts and stack them in on the prop firms. So if your prop strategy should include that to stack accounts, and then you can trade all your accounts together. So this is a new one. So right now I'm trading this account by itself. It is not linked to anything else because it is an eval account. So when I pass it and turn it into a PA account, I will link it to my other PA accounts. That's what I typically do. So I did this last year. I'll do it. I've been doing it this year where I've been stacking on accounts as we go. So basically, I'm looking for $500 a day on these accounts. This is the $5,000 or $50,000 account, and I only look for about $500 per day on an account this size. Okay. Now, typically, we can go ahead and pass these in a day. You just have to get a little more aggressive with your contract size. So I've been taking it a little easy this morning on it, and I locked in 90. Basically, this one I posted a picture on the Discord where I put 3 contracts on with my stop loss up here, and then I put a limit order here to close 2. That way, I don't have to think about it when it comes time to close. The reason why you want to do that, you make it mechanical. So you put the limit order, and I don't care if you put the limit order there at 1-to-1 or you put the limit order here at level 3, which is 2-to-1. Irregardless, I think everybody should learn to use the limit orders to close out part of your profit. If you're going to close partial, put the order on, let it do it automatically. That way, you take your emotions out of it, because what happens is, and I could tell you this from years of experience, just even when I started, you get up to where, here when I closed this, it was 90. Okay, what I got on 2 contracts. So basically 45 a contract. So it was up 150 total. And you'd sit there and say, well, it's up 150. I'm going to let it go. Why close out partial? And then it goes further and you're like, okay, it gets here. And you're like, well, why should I close out 2 here? It's going to go further. And then you keep saying that every time. And you've said that every time and every time. And then here you said the same thing. Well, why close out 2? It's going to go further. And then you sit through this pullback. So, and then as we'll look at the British pound here in a minute, you'll see why it's a good reason to close out partial. So I am going to move the stop. I'd like to keep it 2 levels back today. So I don't know if it's going to keep going or trailing, but I'd like to keep it 2 levels back from the level that it closed past. Okay. So it closed past level 5, which is good. That's a 4-to-1 risk reward, reward to risk. So 4 times your risk level. And I'm going to trail 2 levels back. As far as drawing a trend line, I would draw one down, like here to here. You could draw one more aggressive. Let me turn the magnet on here. So that would be your trade line down. And you could draw one more aggressive. I don't know if that one's broken yet or not. From like here to here. And as you can see, that's what it's coming over to. So this would be your inner down trade line or trend line. This would be your outer down trade or trend line, whatever you want to call it. I call them trade lines because they're here to support my trade. On the 3-minute chart, after the trading session's over, my trades are over, they will come off the chart. So that's what the difference. That's just why I call them trade lines. That's just something I call them. So again, we have an inner and an outer. So just because the inner trade line, if it gets broken, just because that gets broken, if that's to happen, does not mean the move's over, okay? Because it could come down to test the backside of this, come on out to the outer trend line, and then it could shoot further. So just keep that in mind. Just because these trade lines get broken does not mean the bearish move is over. Confirmation with that is we're using the power trade indicator on the bottom, and we're going to hold. Now, I've got these set a little more aggressive. So typically, we'll have this set on a 15-minute time frame, 60-minute time frame, and a 4-hour time frame. Okay, that's to trade with the trend. So basically, the bottom 3 bars down there, we would typically, again, have the bottom one would be a 4-hour time frame, trend time frame. The middle would be 60, and the other would be 15. And then we're down here on a 3 or 5 or even a 1 minute to trade. So we're looking at that as confirmation to hold our trade. Okay, should we continue to hold? Well, I'm going to continue to hold because everything's still red. Now, I moved them a little more aggressively, and I tend to do this a lot when I'm on the 3-minute. If I'm just getting in and out, I'm not going to be in all day. I'm looking for short-term trades. I will dial it down because we'll get more entries. If I dial this down to a 5, 15, and a 1 hour, I'm going to get more sell signals, and that's what we need during the day. I'll change it over to show you. So if you just take a mental picture, we've got what since this is 6:45 a.m. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell signals in here. And then if I switch it over, let's see, we'll switch this back to 15. If I can get the right key here, 60 and 240. Now we still got 4. So it didn't change a thing really, except the time frames of when they came. Because the first one was at 6:45, which was over here. So in this case, it really didn't change. We still had 4 in here. But typically, that's what happens. You'll get more signals to get in. So I'm going to put it back on the 5 and the 15 and the 60 to watch it. Now, I'm not going to be here all day. So this is more of a shorter term. Can I get in and hold and see now as we went back, that first sell signal, bumping it down was at 6:45. So that's a good trade. Right now it looks like it's bounced off that, inner trend line off level 4 there. So the pound, not so well. Still a profitable trade on it. So I sold this on the pullback. Let me pull in my trend line. So basically I had the trend line was off of this level and these levels, and it kind of breached it a little bit with the wick. So I went ahead and jumped in, took a chance that it was going short still. Basically also I was looking at the low over here. So you see this push down, push back up. So that's our swing low, little doji candle there. Basically I was looking at that low. Okay, and looking at the bottom of that swing, saying it's testing that. It pretty much came up to test that area, pulled back down, came up, test that area. So I went ahead and took a chance on getting in, went in light with 3 contracts. That's going in light on this account. So went in light and 1-to-1, closed out 2 with a limit order and got 75 on that and still have 1 runner left. So this is what I was talking about though with the Aussie, is that we can want it to go as far as we can want it to go. That doesn't mean it's going to go there. And in this case, with this, let me see if that's to the back. With this is what I was talking about. It goes to 1-to-1, and you're looking. I closed at 75, 2 contracts. So what is that, about 30, 38? Let's just call it 40. Let's just say that's 80. So about 120. So I'd have been up about 110, 115 on 3 contracts. So you're up 115, and typically your mind's going to say, well, let's just let it all go. Let's just let it all go. I'll consider closing it at level 3. Okay? Then it dips back on you. And then you're looking at, hey, it might pull all the way back and close me out, right? So that's why I closed partial. I've been through all that back when I started. Now, I know a lot of people that when you're starting, that's what happens to you. You get into a trade, 3 contracts, I'd have been up about 110. So 6 contracts, I'd have been up about 220. You get up about 220, and your rule that you set for yourself is, well, I'm going to close partial because I want to make 150 a day. Okay, so I need to close out, 4 or 5 of those contracts of the 6, and you don't do it. Because what happens to you is, and I know this because I've lived through this when I started, it's you're up $200 and you're saying to yourself, well, what if it keeps going? I'm going to miss out on profit. That's exactly what your mind's thinking. Whether you think it out loud, whether you think you're thinking it or not, subconsciously, the money plays in a factor, and you could put ticks on the chart all you want. Your mind still is thinking about the money subconsciously. It just happens. It's the way your mind works. You can't trick it. And what happens is, again, in your mind, you want to make as much as you want. I mean, I want to make as much as I can. Okay? But there's a reality. The reality is that the market's going to do what the market's going to do. The reality is the market does not care that you get into this trade and you want it to just keep dropping. Okay? Nobody cares. So you have to make up the rules and you have to live by the rules. So again, I like to close partial for that reason. I'm sitting here to make money for the day. Okay, I'm sitting here in this case with another eval to pass so I can add it to my PA stack and stack it on. So I'm sitting here to make money in this account. I'm not sitting here for my hell, right? Oh, the dog wants to play. So again, you're up, like I said, I was up, about 110, 115, somewhere in there. 6 contracts, you'd be up about 220. 9 contracts, you'd have been up even more than that. So you'd be up $300-400, $200, doesn't matter. But you're up, and then you decide and you think, okay, I don't think I want to close partial because I think it's just going to keep going. Well, in the first place, I don't know what makes you think it's going to keep going. Because again, I hate, people use words like that all the time. Well, it should. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to keep going. It should keep going. There's nothing in trading that tells you it should. Okay, so we use the indicators the best way we can to kind of guide us. In this case, the power trade indicator down here is telling me to hold. I'm going to hold short. I'm going to keep holding short as long as everything down here, is red, especially the bottom 2 bars. Okay, the higher time frames. So again, though, when you get up that couple hundred and you said in your plan you were going to close, I put on 3. So my plan was to close 2 at 1-to-1. So I used a limit order. So it took my emotions out. It did it for me. It closed 2. There's nothing I can do about it. Put the limit order on, it stayed. I don't move the limit order and back it up, back it down as it moves. So that's my plan. That's what I set. That's what I stick to. So again, what happens is you're up that 120. You say, you know what? As this candle closes past that line, you'd say, you know what? I'm up. I'm up 110. I'm going to let it go to the next, and we'll see. We'll see if I'm going to close any when it's here. Well, what do you need to see? Again, make the decision. What's there to see? If it pushes down here to level 2, what's there to see? If you say, well, I'll see. When it pushes level 2, I'll see where it's at. I'll think about it. Well, what do you mean you'll see where it's at? It's at level 2 or level 3. It's at 2-to-1. What's there to see? Close out partial if that's part of your trading plan. And this is why I closed out partial. It pulled back, even went in the negative a little bit because I kept my stop out here. It's still out here and willing to leave my stop. If I would have pulled my stop to break even, which is aggressive when it hits 1-to-1, pull your stop to break even, I'd been out. I'd be out of this trade completely. So by leaving the one runner stop out there, still in the trade, and now this one runner, which was up about, $40 in here, about $38 here, that one runner's now up 87, and I'll move my stop. So my plan is, when it hits 1-to-1, close out partial, I'm leaving my stop to where my original. Sometimes I move it halfway. Sometimes I move it to break even. But in this case, I was glad today I decided in this week I'm going to leave my stop where it is. So again, putting on 3 to 5 contracts, closing out partial at 1-to-1, and leaving my stop where it is. And then when the instrument closes past the next level like it did here, then I'm going to move to a break-even point. And I'll move it a little past so you can kind of see the order, which it could take me out right there, but that's all right. So now I'm going to trail 2 back. So if the pound goes down and closes past level 4, I will move my stop down here to level 2 is what I'm going to do. So far, those are 2 good trades. This was up a little, and I was busy talking and didn't get to close it. So again, on the NASDAQ trade upper right, I did take the close past the previous high. And I've been negative in it, and we just got to sell on it. So I have to decide. Of course, the market's getting ready to open here, or just open. So we just opened the U.S. stock market 2 minutes ago. So I don't know if I want to leave this on or go ahead and close it. You know, we're getting wick back and forth here. This is the start of the market, the first 3 minutes. So if I hold, I'm holding against the sell. Now, the only thing with this is where the sell is right now. And I mentioned that before, that sometimes you'll get a signal that turns briefly. If you look down here at the bottom, it's all still green on the 1 hour time frame, because this is set up the same. This is set up the 5, 15, and 60. So that turned briefly on one candle. Okay, I didn't change the bottom indicator to wait two circles, and I may do that. I did it on the 1 hour. So when you see the 1 hour reversals, which I turn mine off, I typically turn my 1 hour reversal signals. I typically turn those off until I'm in a trade, if I'm going to use that as my exit signal. So like on those two trades that I'm in, if I want an exit signal, I can use the 1 hour reversal. That waits on 2 circles to be red. And I did not make that change on the higher time frame, the highest time frame, and I may do that, because that would have taken that out. We wouldn't have got that sell on there briefly. So I'm going to hold and see. We'll flip the orb on. I told you guys I was going to do both. Yeah, I've been watching gold. I haven't traded a lot of it. I'm in it now here on this. I took a sell along with the sell signals getting in here. There was a buy here briefly, kind of the same thing we got on the other. And I don't like those, how they'll flip back and forth. So what I did on the 1 hour is I changed it to where it has to be 2 bars on the 1 hour for the reversal. And I may change the other. So my stop is way up there above that. And I got him back here, guys. So I got in here, and as you'll see, I was almost wicked out, and I had my stop out there quite a bit. So I'm nowhere near 1-to-1 where my stop was, where my original risk was. And it's just playing with me on the bottom here. It's just playing with this low right here. So I don't know. We'll see. I'd come in the middle here. There's definitely a level support in here. All these candles, there's definitely a level support, you know, over here that held these candles up. And as you'll see, this wick popped up to it. So that would be my hope. And if I want to pull my stop aggressive right now, I would pull my stop down, but I would keep it above this, this little support and resistance level. Is what I do. So up 165. No, I haven't been up much here. 165. We were up a little more. I was up maybe 200. So nothing to close yet. I don't know if I'll get in Bitcoin. I might wait a bit until if it starts to trend one way or another. I don't want to get involved when the stock market open on it. Now, on John, on my, so on the indicator, it's basically just extra confirmation. So I will still use traditional trading techniques. So what I'm looking for is structure to change, you know, with our highs and lows and everything. So like here on the Aussie, you know, it's going down. It's making lower lows, lower highs on the way down. I'd be watching, you know, like this level here would be my high to break, that if it, and I don't know if I can click right on that here. Yeah, I keep clicking on it. Well, that's going to be my high to break there. It keeps wanting to click on the chart. For some reason, it won't click on that line. Anyways, that's my high to break. It will not let me click on it for some reason. There it goes. So that would be my high to break there. So I'm going to watch for structure and see what it does here. Does it break the high? Does it break the low? This is what you should be doing on every one of these swings, basically. We'd have the low to break, the high to break. We're watching the low, we're watching the high. We'll see what happens. Right now, it's in a bearish move. It's in a downtrend. Lower lows, lower highs. If it goes, because right now it's just pulled back, okay? If it goes and breaks this low, if it closes past that low, okay? So this candle, next candle, whatever. If it pushes past the low, as soon as it starts pushing, doesn't have to close, but as soon as it starts pushing past that line, it is making a lower low. So if it does push past that line, technically it is in the process of making a lower low. At that point, I would move this line, this inner down trade line, I would move it out to this point right here. I would swing it out here. Right now it's too premature. And I've seen people do this, and it doesn't matter if you're drawing your lines on a 3 minute, 1 minute, 5, 15, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily chart. It doesn't matter. You don't move it as it makes candles. Okay? I'm not moving it out here. Okay? It's already where it is from this point A to point B. I'm not swinging it out here. If I swing it out here right now, I'm trying to predict. Not knowingly, but if you're doing that because this candle wick is up here, you're trying to predict that it's going to turn and swing. You're trying to make it move because you're trying to push it off your line, basically. And that's not consciously what you're doing. It's just that you don't know, and you're moving it at the wrong time. I have to see it push. And it was over here off this. I have to see it push past this low. Once it pushes past that low point, then we say, okay, it's in the process of making a lower low. Lower lows, lower highs. We're in a bearish move. I can now move my inner trend line, this one, out here to this point. So that's what we have to watch for. Because what happens if you move your line here and then it breaks your line, goes up a little bit, say up to here. Here, we'll draw it. So what if it breaks through your line right now? You've moved it, and it moves up here like this, and then moves back down here. Okay, and then you'll move your line again, but then it does this, and does this, and does this. Okay, well, now it's in a bullish structure, and you've missed it because you keep stepping your line out. You'd step your line out here. You'd step your line out here. You'd delete this one and move this other one out here. And you keep moving your line. So you don't want to move your line too aggressively. You need to wait and wait it out and wait and see what the market's telling you to do, what the instrument's telling you it's doing, what it's showing you it's doing. So right now we're waiting. If it breaks the low, then we move this inner trade line right here. Because what if this is a bounce? What if right now it is pulled down, right? It broke through the inner trade line here. It pulled down to test the backside of the inner trade line. And what if it shoots up and goes up for the rest of the day? Well, you've missed that signal in here because you've moved your line like this and moved it aggressively. And you're hoping for a push. I'm hoping for a push down too. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it just keep pushing off this and go down. But I know the reality of the market move is different, okay? That it doesn't always do what we want. So I can want it all I want. I could put this here, hope for a push. If we get it, that's great. But again, what if all it's doing is this right here? What if it's just testing the backside of that inner trade line and it's going to bounce? What if it never gets to this low, okay? So if it turns right now and goes up, well, what has it done? If it turns right now and goes up and breaks this little high right here, it's basically made a higher low. Here's a low. This would be a higher low, okay? So right now we have a low. We have a high right here, this wick, and then we have what could be a low. I don't know yet. We have to wait. So unfortunately, you got to wait a few candles. Again, if it pushes past this low, I'm going to say, okay, it's making a new low. In the process of making a lower low, I'll move my line here and use that for the rest of the morning. See how that plays out. But if it bounces here and goes up and breaks this little wick high, I'll put a line on that. But if, well, right there. But if it bounces here and goes up and breaks that high, well, then it's made a higher high, and we'd have to say low, high, higher low, which is like non-existent now because it's touching. But that's what we watch for, so we have to watch it. So we'll see. It's playing with that low right now. Let me pull those in. And like I said, I get a ton of lines on my charts. All right, I got to look at these guys because we're up. I'm up 600 on gold. I am going to, before I mark up things, I'm going to close off. It's either 3 or 1 or 3 or 4. Let's close off 3. I'm closing off 3 over there. I know this is real offset. My stop's down there. I'm going to pull my stop up on NASDAQ. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to close some. 2 levels back. We hit level 4 on pound, so I'm going to move my stop down to level 1. I'm making sure my stops are where they need to be. We're still 2 levels back on. So we really need, on the Australian dollar, we really need it to break that low and get to level 6, and then I can move my stop 1 level back. I buttoned up my stop on NASDAQ in case it gets kind of crazy. All right, so let's look at gold. Candace, I know you said you're in gold. 32.10. Okay, that's where your stop is. I didn't see what price you got in. You might have put it in there. All right, so far it's been a good trade. I've been in it for a while. Again, I was in the negative, and again, my stop was way up there. So that's why I waited to close. My stop was up here. It was above this high right here, and my entry was back there. So that's what this should look like. Because again, my stop was clear up. I did not get taken out. So I almost got taken out of it. So my entry was over here, had a sell signal, went ahead and just took the sell signal. We hope for the best, right? You hope it just breaks and pops. It did. Look at that, 2 candles, and it shot down here. It broke through, and it pushed down. I was like, good timing. That's what I thought. And then it did all this. Negative, positive, negative, 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 positive. Back in negative a little bit. So, again, we hope for the best. And they don't always break and run. This sell signal here, nice break right after the sell signal. This one, about the same as mine. You know, you're in positive 4 hour negative. Not enough to pull profit unless you had a tight stop. So far, I closed out in a good position because I closed out at 32.98. Let's see. 98.2. So that's where I closed partial. So I closed partial a little bit beyond 1-to-1. So again, and you guys saw me when it pushed down through here, I did move my stop down tight. So my stop was up here, left it in this morning, almost got taken out, did not. As it pushed down some, then I moved my stop down just to tighten it up. And I need to change the order here. So I've left 2 on. Let me see. So I'm not going to move my stop to break even. I'm going to leave it where it is. So I'm willing to risk a little bit of the gains. Let me move this over. got a bunch of stuff open here. I'm trying to move around. I'm trying to pull to see what we locked in here. Let's see. This is gold. Closed out 3. So 297 is what we locked in right there. So again, not too bad. Again, I'm only looking for 500 per day. Now again, this is an eval account, so I'm really looking to pass it for the day. But typically on the 50K account, it's 500 is around what you should shoot for a modest living off an account, 200 to 500 per day. So we locked in 297, leaving the stop. So I'll lose back a little bit if it goes all the way back there. So what we'll watch for is we'll watch for it to pull back. And we're going to watch and see if we get a bounce, you know, either here in this off these lows over here. It may pull back up here to test this area again, which is all these highs right here. Okay, so it may creep up in here a little bit, and then, you know, and then go. That's I'm hoping. I don't care what it does at this point. Get off there. I double clicked it and it didn't move. So I don't really care. Okay, we locked in 297. This is a good, solid trade. It took a while, was in the negative for quite a bit. Got in at 806 and didn't close out till 942. So about an hour and a half, a little less than an hour and a half, was in this trade. And it's a good trade, 297. I'm willing to accept the loss. This is what you should say to yourself. Are you willing to? I'm willing to accept the loss to give it the extra room, because I could see this pulling back. I could see it pulling back and taking me out. Don't get me wrong. It could pull all the way back and test any one of these levels in here. You know, we've got, you know, if you look at the candle bodies here, here, they're all in the same level. So if I mark the candle bodies, that's a good solid area. You know, candle bodies, turn there, same price, you know, turn there. As this went up, that candle body closed below that line and pulled down. So I could see it even going up there. So realistically, to keep my stop out of the way would be great to have it back up there. But I already moved it. I don't like backing my stop out. I'm happy with the trade, willing to accept this loss if it goes there, and I'll lose back a little bit of the 297. And we are out of NASDAQ. So I'm glad I moved the stop. I wanted to close some, but it just didn't give me enough in there to profit on. So I lost 76.50 on NASDAQ, and it's going down, and we got to sell. So I got to decide if I'm going to get in on this. It's kind of like chasing a moving bus. I'd rather wait for a pullback on it. Rather wait for a pullback on it before I get in it. We'll see. All right, let me reset some of these. Dog keeps jumping up here like wanting to play. All right. Let's see. Let's go out to this. So we got to sell it. Oh, it's broke. It has broken, tested these. It's testing these lows right here. And we got a low swing in here. So I want to see if that holds up. So I'd like to see a red candle before I get in. I'm still going to trade with just 3 on it. It's either that or we can set up for the orb. I told you guys I would. I know some of you are trading the orb strategy. Let's turn off the historical, and that turns off the previous days. So we're only seeing today's. So that would be... setting up on the orb. So we'll watch the two together. So with the orb, is anyone in here trading that? Orb strategy. Basically, I would wait until 10 o'clock. We have about 8 minutes. I don't have the lines on. Let me turn those on. So there's the lines. That line is 9:45. So some people wait the first 15 minutes, look for an entry. Some people wait the first half hour. Some people wait an hour. That's going to be a personal preference. So during the back testing, as I was looking back and using the indicator, I was looking at two things. I was looking at the 9:45. What if you took a break below the low of 9:45, that first 15 minutes? If you took a break, you'd be in right now because that was the low. Okay. They're starting at 9:30. And then this was your high up here. So what did I do before? Oh, we set up a little box. I'll just put it as a mid zone. I got to turn the magnet off. So that right there would be, for someone trading the first 15 minutes, would be the yellow box. So that would be your low at 9:30 and your highs right here at 9:39. But you're waiting the first 15 minutes to take an entry. So some people are doing that. Now, if you are doing that, some people are taking the candle close below the low, which they would have already been in and got in there, okay? Other people are waiting on a pullback and then a bounce, all right? And then if you're waiting on the 10 o'clock candle to close, then you're still waiting. And this is your low that it needs to break. So we'll wait and see how it pans out today on this because we also have a sell signal off the indicator where everything's switched over to red. So that would be good for the short position. So we'll watch that. I'll wait on that to do an entry. Nothing much. We're up 170. I am out of, I'm out of the British pound as it pulled all the way back and touched that level 2. So I don't know if I want to try and, because I think it's going to bump. And there goes Bitcoin. I was waiting to see what Bitcoin did on this 4-hour trend line. That trend line I have drawn there is a 4-hour uptrend line from way back here to that wick right there, and that's the one it's messing with right now. So I am not in it. And I don't know if I want to mess with it right now. I'd have to wait and see what it does with this trend line. So, do we want to wait for 10 o'clock or get in on this? What do we got? We got 4 minutes left. I don't get in these with pending orders. Trading the Forex market's a lot different. You can get in with pending orders, and when your order's triggered, it normally scoots for you. But I've noticed on futures you can't really do that. So the pound on the last was 43.75, so about $48. We'll watch this and see what it does. The alerts do trigger on this. How did we do that? I didn't do it that way. Actually, I set up alert lines. So if you're doing the orb strategy, I would come in with two alarms, and you're going to put alarm down here. And then you're going to come up here and put an alarm on the top and basically wait for one of those alarms to be triggered. which we just got it triggered as it's pushing. So right now it's making it's pushing that low down. So I might be getting in a little late. I was going to turn my alarm up. So now it's made that low. So here's what's interesting for you guys to watch. As I went back and back tested, I had seen a lot of times where, again, this first 15 minutes, you would get in when it breaks the lower high, which it has, and it would not go. It would turn around in here the last 15 minutes and then go all the way back. I was using the mid-level for a stop is what I was doing. So right now I'm waiting this out. We still got minute 22. But guys, that's just what I went and back tested. I know other people are back testing it, and that's just what I noticed, and that's why I decided to wait the first half hour, because I noticed a lot of times in the first 15 minutes it would break the lower high. Like this to me looks like a great entry on it. It closes past the first 15-minute low and then pulls back to test that first 15-minute low. Guys, this tested perfectly. Tested it, and then there's your signal candle. That'd be my signal candle to get in. Now, if I'm using the power trade indicator, I'd already be in on that. So either way, you're in the trade if that's what you're looking for. And then we have to see if there's follow-through. So right now it pushed. Not really enough to make profit. Depends on how tight your stop is. But even if you used halfway, if you got in on this right here and used the halfway point, you wouldn't be in profit yet. That wick, came clear down to here. But that wick basically is not, did not wick down to that 1-to-1 yet. Okay. And if you got in with the, what just happened? Oh, I know what happened. It printed these, it printed our targets, the 1-to-1 targets. That's why the chart just went wacko. So I need to, let's turn that alarm back on. Well, where did it do? It looked like it moved it. Bear with me, guys. There we go. So we're going to wait it out and see. Got 2 alarms set. We'll look at the others, see where we're at. So, still in the Australian dollar. It did give another sell. I didn't push my lines out yet, so we'll look at that. So see how it's, again, we had made a low. It came up, made a high, came back here. Remember, it was pushing down here, but ultimately it closed up here. It wicked down. It looked like it was going to be good for our bearish trade, but so far it's not. It actually pulled up, and it actually broke this high. So right now, this is considered bullish structure over here. So we had our bearish structure here. Right now we've had bullish structure over here. I'm still going to wait, and I'm going to leave my line here. It broke it, but then it pulled down here to make a higher low still. So it's making higher highs, higher lows. That's bullish. So I'm not going to move this outer trade line. Whoa, let me set that back. I'm not going to move the outer trade line here out here yet, okay? Because, again, right now it's in a bullish formation as it's retracing. So right now I'm looking at that as just a retracement. It is what it is, and it's retracing, and hopefully it'll bounce and... Oh, I got the magnet turned off. That's why. Seems like I'm turning those things on and off more than I am the light switches around the house. All right, so we'll see what happens. But so far, it is that bullish retracement we're seeing. If you don't include the wick here, you can kind of get a retracement line up. So that would be my retracement line up that I would hope it breaks and pushes down. That's just for my trade. So I'm going to leave my stop where it is and give it that extra room. I'm okay with that. All right, we're still in gold. The pound I'm out of. I don't know if I'm going to get back in that or not. That's had a really good steep. And guys, these move off of dollar strength is what we're seeing. We're seeing a move off of what the U.S. dollar's doing. Even though this isn't a currency pair, I'm trading the futures instead. These are based off the U.S. dollar. So if you go out and look at the currency pairs and the cross pairs, you're going to have the U.S. dollar tied to the British pound, the Australian dollar, the Kiwi, the Loonie, which is the Canadian dollar. You're going to have it tied to all of them. And I posted that last night. I posted 2 trades this morning I'm in on the Canadian dollar. One's on the Forex pair, and one's on the futures, Canadian dollar futures. And I'm up around 7,600 on the futures contract. I am watching those both on a 4-hour time frame now. So I've moved on. And then the Forex one, I left all 40 contracts on. Just moved the stop loss. It's on a 4-hour time frame, and it was up 26K, but now it's 24.9 something, 24.7. So a little over 24K on that. But I've moved my stop where it's acceptable. To me, it's under some lows. The charts are out in the Discord. So those are my 2 big ones on the Canadian dollar. Canadian market is open when our market is during the New York session. So yeah, see, look at that. So we're making a higher. So again, this is why you don't move your lines. Now I'm going to take this one out. We don't need this one anymore. We basically broke through, and it's stretching up there for my stop. So it's probably going to take me out. Let's see. I need to see. That's a big handle right there. Forgot to mark. So we had $44 on the exit here. Wherever that was. I know it wasn't up there. It was somewhere in that candle. There's the price where it closed that out. So that would be the runner. And that's 48 on it. I'm going to swap, since I'm not looking to get in the pound again till tomorrow. I am going to switch that over to oil. See where we're at. Ew. Okay. I'll go over oil here in a minute, because there's a couple things I like, and then there's one big thing I don't like. Still waiting on NASDAQ to do something. And then gold's just pulled back for us. So, okay, here's what I don't like on oil. So, oil, we have buy. All right? Nothing but buys today. And guys, we're ignoring the off-market hours, okay? So, we're not trading this in here, because that's from 11 p.m. on. So, I'm only trading it during my market hours, even though it's turned on all the way. And something I added to this, for those that have it, is that I added this right here to trade the entire day, because that wasn't set up. So I added that in. Basically, you could have your time sessions in here, and you would have it come on during the time sessions. But I only had this set up for, a few hours during the market. So basically, this overrides everything if you shut everything off. And that means that the signals are on all day. And then that way you get to see them all along the board, what they're doing. I shut off the 1 hour turns. That's just me. I don't want to see those on the chart. I can use those for an exit. So if I'm in a trade and it's going in my direction, say I'm in long and it's bullish, I will turn on these buy and sell reverse. And then when that reverse comes up, I can use that as a signal to get out. Okay. So that's the way it's set up. So basically, again, we're only looking to trade during our time frame. So if you're looking to get in around 8 o'clock, there's 8 o'clock. Okay. That's the start of our session. 8 o'clock. So you guys know we did the lives a while back where we were getting in here, what was it, 7 or 6? I don't know. It was either 6 or 7. So basically, 8 o'clock here, that's when we start looking for signals. Gave several buys in here and then took off. So it would have been good on the day if we were watching oil, took a trade. The one thing there's a couple things. One, it's in a 4-hour zone. There's the 4-hour zone. So this 4-hour zone was from a low back here, this swing right here, okay? And I have to shut these off because they don't work if you put them out to a 4-hour unless you change them to watch the daily and weekly and monthly. So we had this swing down and marking that wick right here from this red candle, marking the wick low to the body, right? It stayed up above, wick down, came down, turned, wicked below a little bit. Finally tapped the bottom, tested the top again, broke, and shot down. So that's the 4-hour zone that I drew. And then as you look, we just had stop filled on NQ. Oh, no. Wait a minute. We had stop filled on something else. The Australian dollar. But we had an alert go on NQ, so let's look at that. Let's look real quick and see if it did. Where's my indicator? No, that must have been the other alert from the line because it's not triggered. All right, where were we? Oil. So again, as you look back and you see how it reacted, it came down, turned right there at the bottom of that zone. Again, it was marked from back here. You're marking it off swings. Broke through, and then it just played around with it here and there, testing top, testing the bottom, breaking the top, breaking the bottom, respecting areas somewhat, and then breaking them, coming back to test them again. So that is right where we're at. We're right in the middle of that area. So that would be my one caution is because look at this right here, how it swung up and turned at the top of that zone. You have to think to yourself, is it going to do that again? I don't know. Is it? It might. I have to prepare for that. I have to be ready for that. So if I get in long and it just goes up to the top of that and turns, that's why you want to close partial, okay, at the top of that zone level. And then you don't want to be surprised. It should not surprise you if all it does is go up to the top of that and turn and come back down. That's what it did here. It swung up to that top of that zone and came all the way back down to this 4-hour support and resistance level, which, by the way, is marked off of this low. That's why you have to go out to the 4-hour time frame and mark your zones, your support levels, okay, and any trade or any trend lines, higher time frame trend lines. So right now we're back up. So it shouldn't surprise you if it turns there, okay? Now, going back down to the 3, what I didn't like to see was, again, at the start of our session, we had buy signals. It went up. I wasn't watching it. I was in other things. It's come up. It's basically hit the top of that zone. So is it going to turn and go down from there? Back down to that, down here. to the 4-hour support and resistance level. I don't know if it is. We'll have to watch for the structure that's built. What I don't like is this right here. I love this pattern. The Head and Shoulders pattern. Is that right there? So that's my one caution, or my other caution, I guess my second, is this going to play out to be a solid Head and Shoulders pattern? Now, it is on a 3-minute time frame, so the smaller time frames, they don't hold up as well as they do on the larger time frame. Is that going to hold? Is this going to push back down, to test this area in here? Basically, the bottom of the zone is what I would use for my target. So it'd be more like this, because it could pull down and just do a deeper retracement here and bounce right there. Okay, because if you look over here, look at how it respected the bottom of that zone. Hit here, kind of, it closed past it, but it pulled back down again, hit the bottom, hit the bottom, hit the bottom, pulled through, tested it, and then took off. So is it going to go back to that? So right now I'm going to have to stay out. If I take a trade in this, I would do a tight stop below this low. I mean, I would do a super tight stop there. Okay. If I was to take that long, because we have still printed buy signals, it has pulled up and pulled back, so we're getting at a good position. We're getting in on a pullback. That level looks to be about, if you drew fibs from this level here, that low to that high, it's pulled back about 50%. So it's pulled back about halfway. So it'd be good Fibonacci retracement bounce. So if you took it, I would go with a tight stop. And I would not do full contract size. So if you're doing like 10, I would go 4. If you're going 5, I would go 2. I wouldn't risk a lot here, because I have to know that even though my signals say buy, we're in a holding pattern. If I'm, again, looking at the higher time frame, the 4-hour time frame, right? It's just pulled back up to that 4-hour zone. It's pulled up to the top to test it, and it may do what it did here, okay? Let me pull that off. It may pull up and that might have been our bounce. It might pull back up and hit it again, but that might be it. It might go back down. So you have to be aware of where the higher time frames are, what they're doing when you're trading down here on a 3. Okay, so by drawing those 4-hour zones, I already knew that when I first turned on the oil chart, I already knew what it was doing. I knew it was in a 4-hour zone in here. I knew it hit the top of the 4-hour zone, and then of course I also saw the Head and Shoulders pattern. So let's see. So John, if I'm trading against, so here's something, let me see. Like on the Australian dollar, if I wanted to get in that long, I could have. That's where the 1-hour reverse thing comes in. So if I'm looking to reverse, let's take that off. That's where I said, see where that buy reverse come up? So that kind of gives you a warning that it's in for a deeper retracement. When the 1-hour turns, and in this case, it says 1 hour, and I need to change that. I just need to change like mid, because that's basically the mid-level. So for me, since I changed these this morning and was trading on the 5, the 15, and the 60, it's basically the 15-minute time frame turning. So that means during this upward move, that 15-minute chart turned. Okay, bullish. That's what that means. So when that reverse comes up, that would be my sign to get out if I'm not already out, by pulling my stop down. And then it means it's pulling back deeper, but it may turn into a bullish trend. So that's like a pre-warning that your ride might be over short and that it may end up going long and turning. Okay. Now, we'd already been out because I was already out of this one, I believe. I wish it would mark these. I don't know why, guys. This chart, for some reason, the Australian dollar does not show the executions. And I have no idea why. So, yes, you can get back in. And I've even dialed this down to even a tighter time frame. If I go down to a 1 minute time frame, I've taken these just for a scalping session in the evening. And the highest time frame would then be a 15. And then I've done a 5 and a 3 minute. 3, 5, and 15. And that's just if I want to get into something short term. Like, I want to get in and out and just make a few hundred and I'm done for just get me in for, 15 minutes to half an hour and I'm done for the day. Done for the night or whatever. And that would be considered scalping on that one. We still have not had, let's see. So we could have taken that short on Bitcoin. I did not. I don't know. I hope somebody got in some of that. My caution was, again, it was at that 4 hour. That's actually a 4 hour trend line. But it did come through the 4 hour trend line, pull back to test it. That would have been a good short. I didn't take it. We weren't watching, or I wasn't watching it. Forex.com. Candace is the broker I've been using for Forex. And I've been with them since 2004. I think, I don't know, some of you guys have heard the story about Refco. Look it up. I had $20K to put in an account, and I was going to put it all in with Refco, REFCO, Canadian-based company, but they also had headquarters in New York as well. And great solid company from what I saw, everything I researched, and I was going to put all 20 in there. See, there's our bounce on, and we didn't take it. So if you were going to take this oil, again, I would trade it to the top of that for your target. I feel like I'm getting in kind of late. I would do a super tight stop, like down in here, if you're going to do oil. I can put one on, but I'd kind of be throwing money on there. It basically, oil is right. If I move the shoulder up, it's basically testing that. So I expect it to pull back some. And then maybe go. But yeah, Revco, I was going to put money with them. Decided over the weekend, I'm going to do it next week. Monday came. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. Didn't put the money in. Tuesday came. Didn't put the money in. My wife Tuesday night's like, I thought you were going to, put the money in there and start trading with them. And I was like, well, I was. I don't know. I'll do it tomorrow. This was like Tuesday night. All right. So we have a cross. I'm going to wait for this to close. When it closes, I'm going to go ahead and take, we'll take a sell on this. I'm only going to do 3. Not confident in its moves. The last couple days, it's taken off. But it doesn't always do that. I also saw, I think it was 2 days ago, I think it was last week toward the end, it actually took off or put you in and then pulled all the way back to the halfway point and then it broke out later. Anyways, so yeah, I was going to put the money in Tuesday night. I said, well, I'll put it in the morning, tomorrow, Wednesday. I remember this so vivid. I get up. The first thing I ever did was when I'd go into my office, I'd have the news on, market news. Man, Revco was all over the news. Shut down. I can laugh about it now, but I came so close. If I would have wired my money in Monday or Tuesday, I would have lost it all. The only people getting paid out first was with anything they had was going to be the Canadian market traders, and then the U.S. market, U.S. traders came second. So yeah, I would have lost it all. So then I was like, okay, we're not going to put all $20K with one broker. Let's look for two other ones. And Forex.com was one of them that I decided to use and stuck with them. I've never had any issues with them. So see how we wait for a candle. So it broke the alarm line, but the candle did not close. So I'm going to have to turn that alarm back on. And then we'll just wait it out again. Wait till we get another alarm letting us know it's crossing past. So we had a pullback here on oil. If I was going to pull the trigger, I'd almost pull it now. And now since it's pulled back some, I could comfortably put my stop back here, which is basically below those lows. Again, my short-term target would be that high. I just don't like that on this push, it did not close above that other. If I was trading on the Australian dollar against the third time frame, the 1 hour, I would have taken this long right here. I'm not going to take it, but we'll watch it because I'm pretty satisfied on the day on this account. So I don't know. We'll see if I get anything. I want to see about NASDAQ. Yeah, you can, John. The middle time frame, you can definitely use that to turn. So that's basically what, and if you have that right there, the 1 hour set up, and it says 1 hour, but basically it's the middle time frame. If you have this buy and sell on the reverse, that's your middle time frame. So in this case, since I'm trading the 5, 15, and 60, it would be the 15 change. So if you dropped it down to 1 minute for entry and had the 3, the 5, and the 15 minute, then your 5 minute would be the turning point, turning signal. And you would just leave those on. Now, something I know that on the alarms, not everybody's set up with the same alarm setups and alarm signals. So let me clear my alerts. Oh, I don't have many. So if you're setting it up on the indicator, I have mine set up on red list. So here's a red list buy, red list sell. I can do 2 red lists because I'm on the premium. If you're below that, you can't do any whole list. So this would be alert of a buy and a sell signal on any one of my instruments that's in my red list. So basically everything on my list. Everything in this list right here. All the indices, gold and all that, all the currency pairs I have, a couple stocks, they would get all signaled. So we just had an alert on NQ. It's triggered. So we'll keep an eye on it. We're looking for it to close past that low. So I made up a couple other indicators or alarms on that. Is this one is anything fires off. So if you go to an alert and set it up on the Power Trader indicator, this one says any signal. And I could put that on a list, but basically, if you cannot get a lot of alerts, which you should be able to get a lot of alerts, you're just going to have to take the Power Trader thing and put it, you're going to have to individualize it, like per NASDAQ. If you want a NASDAQ alarm to go off, you're going to have to set this up on the NASDAQ. If you use it to where it says any signal and you just don't want to go through and set everything up, then you're going to get alerted and not know what it's for. It literally means come look at the chart. You got to buy, sell, or 1 hour reverse, middle line reverse, whatever you want to call it. You can get alert just on a buy, sell, or just on the retracement. So what I like to do with it is if I'm getting alerted on buy sells and I'm in something, I can turn that alarm off and just turn the retracing. Just let me know when it's retraced because I want to get out. So there's different things you could do with it. Like this morning on the Australian dollar, you know, if I was using the reverse, I was in short and I'm looking for sells. Once I'm in, then I don't really need to know when there's more sells. I'm going to hold my position and adjust my stop. But you can then change the alarm over and come in, and I could have went Power Trader, and then basically I'm looking for retracing up only. So when it gives that middle line there, the middle line here switches over, then I would have got out. Okay, and again, it waits for 2 circles. So that's why it didn't trigger here. I made it do that because a lot of times you're getting 1 dot and it would signal back and forth, and we don't want that. All right, we got still 22 seconds. So glad I did not take the oil because it looks like it's pulling through with the, it's going to test this bottom again and we'll see. So I'm going to look to see if it signals short. Right now, 2 of the time frames on oil are short. But yeah, guys, I almost, and that's all I had to trade with. So I almost, like I said, I just didn't wire the money on Monday, Tuesday night. I told her, I'm like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Woke up, saw them in the news. Then she was like second guessing doing any of it because of that. All right. So oil, we have 2 time frames red. I'm okay with the other being green. If I'm looking to short, I'm shorting against the 1 hour basically. So it would be a retracement trade I'd be trading. Trying to think if we didn't mark anything else here. I don't know. It shows I'm up 540 on the day. Well, that's if I close out the one I'm still in. But so I've locked in 500. And then we've got the 48 sitting there. We're still hanging on to the gold trade. All right, we have 12 seconds left. I know the dog needs to go out. All right, so it closed. It does not want to break that low on NASDAQ. So, guys, it has not broken that. It just does not want to go past that. So, again, as we look back, if you would have taken, again, the yellow box is the first 15 minutes. Okay, if you're the trader, it says, I'm going to wait just the first 15 minutes. And guys, I've seen people trade the first 5. They're like, they're going to trade the first 5-minute breakout. In this case, it'd be like these 2 candles. I wouldn't suggest that. If you do trade the first 5 minutes, it needs to be a very short-term trade. I mean, don't expect a lot of profit on it. You're really not trading a opening session. And I hate when people say that. They're like, I'm trading the opening range. You're trading a 5-minute candle break is what you're trading. And they'll say, well, I'm trading an opening range breakout. And I'm like, really? You're trading a 5-minute candle breakout. So technically you should be able to do that any time of the day. But they use the first 5 minutes. So if you look at that, then here's this candle. Then again, you'd take the high and you would have got in over here on this. It went up here. That would have been it. So you better closed out partial, because then it came back and it would have stopped you out. So I don't suggest using the first 5 minutes. If you do, be very careful and look to get out in a candle or 2. And that's it. Okay, after you're in, get out in a candle or 2. Look for that very short-term target and then switch it over. But I don't suggest doing that. So what I tested was on the 15-minute and then the waiting the half an hour. So either way, we wouldn't be in. We're not in yet. But again, if you took the candle close past the first 15 minutes low, you'd be in on that, or wait for a pullback to test, you'd be in on that candle. So you'd be in on one of those 2 candles if you're on a 3-minute. So you'd be in and up. Still wouldn't have hit those ranges yet for profit. If you use the halfway point for your stop on this candle here, you would have got in there, and you haven't even hit 1-to-1. Okay, if we move over to this candle as your entry, that one hit 1-to-1. Okay, so if you would have waited on the pullback, first 15-minute break, wait for the pullback, it happened. Signal candle is what I call when you get that red candle, because we're looking to go short in this case. Then getting in there with your stop halfway, it did hit 1-to-1. But again, if you wouldn't have put your pending orders there, you wouldn't have probably closed. You wouldn't have been quick enough, because that candle went down and pulled back up. That's why I used the pending orders. So you would have been able to close out, if you put on 5, close out 4 or 3, and had runners on. So those would have been okay for today. Oh, that candle did close past. I missed my entry, guys. I got to pull the trigger. I didn't think that candle closed past because I was looking at it on the smaller time frame. So I went ahead and got in, and then on this account, since it's with Trade-Avate, there's no way to link your orders up unless you go into, I would have had to gone in the trading panel. I don't normally do this. And gone in the trading panel and put in 3 contracts put in a stop loss, and I would have made it an order, and it been like down here, submitted the order, and drug the order up. So I don't do that. So I go ahead and put the order on, and then I'll come up here on this line and click this, and then we want to buy stop on that. So that's our order. We're in pretty far stop. I'd feel comfortable doing a stop here, like up in this level. Basically, you're using this as your line of defense. You got a couple candles closed here. So something like that, if you want a little tighter stop. I know some people want to use the quarter stop. What do you guys want me to do? You guys tell me. I don't really care. I could put it here at a quarter stop level. Actually, I think quarter stop's there. So we've talked about that before, where you look at, do you put the stop at a quarter stop level, the half stop, 3/4, or all the way on the opposite side? I wouldn't recommend 3/4 that. I'd recommend half as the furthest you go. So if you want a tighter stop, you can go with a quarter stop. It's really up to the trader. It's up to you. So if we're going to use a quarter stop, what do I see down here? I see that I have a 4-hour support and resistance level. It may not go past that. Don't know. For some reason today, I used to be, this is no lie, guys, you used to be able to right click here and come down and create an order. See where it says buy 3, sell 3? I can do my limits. There used to be another button that said create an order, and I'd click that and it would open up the trade panel. For some reason, it is not there today, and I don't know why. Unless they did some kind of update, because I had a problem linking with TradingView this morning anyway. So what I have to do is come in here, dial that down to a 2, okay? And then now I can come here and click this and do I want to put a buy limit. And what that's going to do is that's going to close off too. I do not want to put it down here right on 1-to-1. 1-to-1's right there. And that's my 4-hour level. So I'd want to put it up above that. So I'm not going to quite get 1-to-1. Got a tight stop. Tighter than I've been going on these. So we'll see what happens on it. Did anybody get in Bitcoin? Interested to see if anyone got in Bitcoin. But yeah, Candace, it's a great broker to use. I've never had issues with them. Unless you're trying to switch an account over. That's why you guys see my one account with MetaTrader. You can't just change your... they do use TradingView now. So you can get... your account linked with TradingView through them. But if you have an account with MetaTrader, you cannot switch it over. Trust me, I've tried several times. But they won't just switch it over to a TradingView account. I don't know what the deal is with that. They'd have to close out the account, which means pulling a withdrawal. And I don't want to do that. Because tax time cometh. So not much on this, where we could have taken that buy on that pullback bounce there on the Aussie. I got in it this morning, but I'm not looking to trade it. Again, basically you're trading off the US dollar. I'm not really trading the Australian dollar. The only reason it's moving like it is if we went out and looked at the currency pairs. If we went and looked at the Australian dollar tied to the US dollar. They're basically moving off US dollar strength and weakness. Where is that? Yeah, where it is waiting. I don't know, guys. I'm looking back at something. I have no idea what I typed in here. Here's some. If you guys go out and look at the Money Duck trade, those are my trades. I don't post them all in there. Some of them I post in the day trading thing. But you'll see a lot of the bigger ones in there. So if they're in MetaTrader like this, you know that if it's pushing down, okay, if it's pushing, the Australian dollar is the first currency. It's the base currency. The US dollar is the cross. So if it's moving down, you're seeing Australian dollar strength is what it's looking like, and that's basically US dollar weakness against it. So if you see all the pairs in sync where they're showing US dollar strength and weakness, that's basically what you're trading. Typically I'll post like this one, 40 contracts on is my typical on that account. Is 40 contracts is my go-to. So I was up 11, 8, and then I closed out 30. So when I post these, it's where the current chart is, where the current value is on my trade, and then I close out. And I close out 30, 3/4 is what I like to close out. That's my realized profit. And at that point, I'll just manage the stop, hoping that the runner goes. So that's the Australian dollar. Here's the Canadian trade. I don't know what I was meaning to type. I probably used text to speech or speech to text. It says is buried on the Canadian dollar. I don't know what I was meant to type there. Sorry about that. But that was up 22K, locked in 17. So these are the bigger trades that you'll see is out on the Forex, on the Forex pairs. Another yen. And typically the yen, Japanese yen, Australian dollar, and Kiwi, they're going to be at night. And the Canadian dollar is in British pound or euro. Those are going to be during the day. Then there was a couple small trades in here. So I took this same trade here on the yen, and notice it's moving down again because the Japanese yen is on the right side of the currency pair. So this is basically the US dollar going down. Okay. Well, you have to trade the opposite on the euro or on futures, because futures, you're only trading one currency. We're only trading the yen. So that's a small trade, just a mirror trade on that is all that is. So you'll see kind of a mix of them as I trade in multiple. And then the last one was this one's on the loonie as well, which is the Canadian dollar. This is the one I'm in now, and I had 40 on. And that's the one that was at 24. I think down here it was 26. And that was this morning I posted that. And that's where it is. So I'm out on a 4-hour on that as well. So basically I'm on the 4-hour and I'm looking for this. It's sideways up in here. And I'm looking for that to break and run. So I left all 40 on. So I'm hoping that turns into one of those trades. It's like, okay, that made up, most of my year. they don't do that a lot. So just waiting. I was waiting for the next breakout. I don't know why it says inches, but I use speech to text a lot. So the Australian dollar popped down to test that previous high over here. We'll see what it does on that. And again, that I may turn this and modify this to where it only signals these on the second. It's going to wait for the second candle. It's on the higher time frame, on the 4 hour, it's okay, because if you see that one dot and you were to get a buy on a 4 hour time frame, it normally has more follow through. It goes up. So you could take that trade and make profit. But when you dial this down, like I have it down to the smaller, especially if you go with the 3 minute, 5 minute, and 15 minute, then that gets kind of messy down there on the one dot. So, because you'll see back here, we had a one dot here. So that's why I'm considering changing that for 2, because of that reason. Because as I've dialed it down to trade it on the smaller time frames, I've noticed that. I'm like, I don't like that. Yeah, we're back in the negative on this. So nothing great on it. So again, the only caution I'd have on the orb on this one getting in is just what I said. We got the 4 hour time frame there. So it may not even get there, but we'll see. A lot of times it'll come down and test it though. So, but I might be taken out beforehand because I got my stop at the quarter stop. But that's all the risk I wanted to put up on that. Let me put this back where I had it. What am I missing? Is there anything else, any other instrument you guys want me to look at? We got gold, Bitcoin, ES, and NASDAQ. Oil, because the Australian dollar, I'm afraid if I keep watching it, I'm going to want to get in. Oh, someone asked me the other day about, they were talking about the rules, trade rules. Guys, I recommend you putting them on the chart. If you have a hard time sticking to your rules, there's those sticky notes. Where are they? I think I've changed the name of mine. Where is it at, guys? There's here, checklist. So there's 2 different ones. Basically, it's called sticky notes. I'm looking for the other. I mean, I know you guys have seen it out there, but I don't. Looking for it. It can't be that one on the bottom. That's not it. That's just another version of that. Sorry, guys. I didn't plan on showing this, but now I can't find it. Well, okay, I don't know what happened to it. So anyways, I'd recommend doing something like this. And again, it's called, sticky notes out there is what it's called. But I recommend doing something like this where you've wrote down your rules for getting in trades. And you only take the trades when your rules are hit. So if you continually get into trades and you haven't waited till everything gets hit, then I recommend, because most people write them down on paper, use sticky notes on their laptop or a computer monitor, sticky notes on your keyboard, desk, whatever. But if you have a problem waiting for those rules, especially if it's an over trading situation, then you need to put them on your chart. It doesn't have to be on all of them. I think I already deleted it off here. But, put it on one. You can always black out your candles. Put your candles on a line chart. Come in here and fade them out. Fade everything off your chart, off one of your charts, and make it smaller, and there you go. You've got your rules, and the candles aren't going to get in the way. And you can take everything else off the chart. But I do recommend, if you have a problem, then right now I'm looking at 5 instruments, and this chart down here is telling me, to wait on my setup. It has my rules on there. So something like that I do recommend going with. Let's see, we'll do this. It should wipe all that off. Put my candles back. Nope, it did not. There we go. And as we've watched ES just taper down. So ES, I'm going to go put that on ES too, since we're watching the two. I'm going to turn that back on. So we're going to look at ES as well, because we tested both NASDAQ and ES on this orb strategy. NASDAQ seemed to go further on its targets. And turn off historical because that messed it. So you'll see, here's how ES looks on it. So again, on the first 15 minutes, if that's what you're waiting on, then your low would be here and your high would be up here, okay? And then you'd basically get in on a break of that lower high, okay? Which we had right there. So this candle actually broke past. So, and looks great. But you have to decide, which are you going to do? Because when you look at them side by side, we already know that, let me change this historic data. We already know that, where is it? If you're going to take a candle that closes past the low, you would have taken that. So you have to make a decision, and I'm about done with that, Candace, or about ready to go back live with it again. You have to decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to take a candle close past the low or high, or are you going to wait on a pullback? So if you said to yourself, I'm going to trade this orb strategy, I'm going to trade the first 15 minutes and wait for a candle to close past the high or low, and I'm going to get in right away, then you would have got in here. Okay, so far, you'd been positive still. It's working out. If you wait for a pullback, if you said, I'm going to wait on a pullback, that's my entry strategy. Okay, you could write your rules that you're going to wait the first 15 minutes. And when a candle closes past the lower high, you're going to wait on a pullback to get in. A pullback and red candle. Pullback, red candle, you're in. I don't like entering short on green candles. This could print green candles all day long and keep going up. So I'd like to see a red candle. I'd like to see the bearish side of the market kind of take back over. I'd like to see them in control a little bit. So I want that red candle. So you have to decide how far. Today's perfect. Today it just pulled back to test that low and gave a red candle. It doesn't always look like that. Sometimes it pulls back, gives you a red candle, you're in, and then it still goes back. Okay? It's just going to happen. It doesn't always look good. So if you said to yourself, nope, I'm going to wait for a pullback and red candle, you'd get in there. Well, then when you go to ES, that's why I'm showing you the difference. So ES, red candle close, under the 15-minute low, and then you would, if you're waiting on a pullback, you're waiting on that. I mean, it pulls back, it wicks, and then do you get in on a red candle? Well, that would be this one. So you're getting in this case on ES, you're getting in here at this candle close, you're getting in at a worse price than getting in here. But then on NASDAQ, you're actually getting in on a better price. So there's some good things to it, some bad. You just have to make the decision on what you're going to do. So far, though, ES has pulled down to 1-to-1. Now, if you switch this up, your 1-to-1 would be up in here somewhere. So if I change this to 945, there would be your 15-minute high-low, and then it broke, and then, of course, it quickly, within a couple candles, hit that level. It's going to be offset. The 1-to-1 is set off the midpoint. So your first take profit level is set off the midpoint, wherever the midpoint is. So unfortunately, if you are unless you get in right when price touches that line, which I don't recommend, well then, unless you do that, then you're going to be offset on your 1-to-1. So you may want to target like 1.5 down here, or even this second line. But so far, you'll see that, and I'll change up NASDAQ. We'll look at both. So here on, let me do something else here. Let me go scrub all my pictures. Just bear with me. I'm moving them all. All right, so I'm going to save screenshots on these two. So we're looking at where they're at right now. Right now, S&P has hit, if you did the breakout, the first 15 minutes, it almost hit 3. All right, so we'll change this one too. So see the difference? So NASDAQ has only hit level 1, about 1.5. It didn't quite get to 2 yet. So that's the difference. A lot of times I had seen where ES had actually went to a further profit target. More of a move. NASDAQ a lot of times was lucky to hit 1, and then it would pull back and come all the way past the midpoint, and even sometimes go all the way back and reverse. So basically on this, though, you're looking at taking the trade either at 9:45, waiting for a break, or 10 o'clock, waiting for a break, and then only trading till, and look at where my target is. I just noticed my buy limit's right at target 2, waiting on that first 15. I'm going to change this back because that's not what I got in on. But basically for me, it's noon. like to be in profit by noon. So with the orb strategy, what I liked about it was, again, someone asked about it. I'm not even sure if they're working, like if they have a day job, but they were having problems with it. So I decided to go back and research it. And they were trying to basically trade NASDAQ. And what I saw was it basically went to level 1. Sometimes it goes beyond. We've had days last week where it went beyond. So again, looking at this is, I looked at it from that aspect. So can someone that works full time come in, set the alarm lines at 10, for the high and low like we did, and then wait for that alarm to be hit. Wait for those alarms to be hit, and then again run out to their car, take a little coffee break, whatever, at work, to go look at the chart and see if a candle closes past those lines, and take that trade. And then that's where the limit orders are going to help too. I have a limit order there. So if I was out working right now, so I placed the trade here when the candle closed past that low, okay? Been in the trade, have my limit orders set. If it goes down and hits my limit order, I'm going to get an alert on my phone, okay? So I will get an alert on my phone. Well, then that's the time to do what? Go get some coffee, take a bathroom break, whatever. And because I know right now I have 3 orders on, 3 orders as a stop to close out the whole trade, and then 2 to close off partial. If it goes down and hits partial and closes 2, I will have 1 runner on, but my stop will still say 3. So the only way around that with Tradevate, you cannot do it through TradingView, but you can place orders. Well, as I say that, don't let me. I haven't tried that yet. Something I was going to do was open up the trade panel. Do a sell stop with a stop. So you can see your orders here. I should do it on another. I don't want to close that out. Looks like I'm going to be taken out though. I'm going to move my stop on gold. I'm going to move it up above this high right here, that little swing high. So I want to capture something, and it's up 250. So I'm going to close out 1 manually. So 250. So we're going to capture about another 125. We'll do a buy of 1. And then I need to change this stop to match. I don't know if that'll undock. Okay. All right. So, and as you look where I closed out, I closed out the 1 about where the, let's see, this was at 98.2, 95.9. So a little bit extra. So by leaving my stop on, because remember my stop was still back here for the longest time until it started pushing. So we did good on this trade overall. Let me look and see what that was, and then I'll go back to what I was. Soon as it. Okay, we locked 122 on that. Somewhere in there. There we got 122 on it. Not bad. So that's A little over 400. Okay, so I'm going to try this. So I do not like trading through Trade-of-8. I just don't like the platform. Sorry, guys. What is going on? I'm looking at my Trade-of-8 and it's flipping orders. My order lines are flashing for some reason over there. That's why I don't like trading through Trade-of-8. So I'm going to try something. I don't know how this will work or not. We'll try it. I don't know why I keep undocking that, but all right. So I'm gonna sell this. And what I want to do is we're gonna put on 3 on Bitcoin. Put on 3, and I'm going to do a sell stop. Now you can drag it. I can move it down. So I'm just going to move my sell stop here out of the way. My stop loss, I'm going to drag it up here. Okay. So I'm going to put my stop loss above this high. Now I'm not going to use a target, because if I drag the target down, it will close all 3 contracts. And I don't want that. There is no way in TradingView to set that up. So if you want to place an order like this, where you're going to sell 3 and you need your stop to be 3, but you want a profit, and if the profit closes, if you have a 2 contract buy limit order, it's going to close off 2, and you want it to change this stop to 1, you have to do it through Trade-of-8. You cannot do it through, and I'm already triggered. I didn't get it on because I'm too busy talking. But you cannot do it through TradingView. It has to go through Trade-of-8. And you can do the orders like that, where if it moves X, close out 2 contracts, move your stop to break even, or move your stop to a point. And if it moves X further, then close out 1 more contract and move your stop. So you can do that, okay? So what I'm looking at doing is, can we do this right here? Look at your risk, right? And that's where it is now. But I'm going to back this up. So what I'm going to do is I want to see if I can tie this stop to this order. So when I put a buy limit in, if it's triggered, it closes 2 and it'll change that stop. So I'm going to go ahead and sell. But what I'm going to do is back this up so that I get put in. And we're going to see if this works. I don't know if it's going to work that way, because it should have put me in if it's going to work. And it did not put me in. And it won't let me move it either. Yeah, it's not going to work that way. I'd have to move it like this, and then I was hoping I could slide my order up and it would trigger the trade. This candle should, if it pops down, it should trigger. So I'm doing a little experiment here. So if that gets triggered, then I'll put we can put a little pending order in. Again, I don't want 3 on. So they're doing something between Trade-of-8 and TradingView, and I don't like it because, like I said, I lost the create order down here. want that to trigger. We'll see if it triggers. So if I would have taken a market order, you guys have seen me take trades in here. So if I take a market order, if I would have just entered sell, this stop wouldn't be here. It's not linked to it. You have to put it on all at one time. I moved it and it's not doing anything. So that's a little experiment down there we'll try. All right, so glad I closed the one out so far on, let me pull this close partial line out. So we're still in gold. So far we locked in 400. Okay, so now I'm in. So I'm really just looking to see, I want to see if when it triggers my, so again, this is just an experiment. Don't ask me why I decided to do that today, but I thought about it last night because I know a lot of you guys are trading through TradingView and the stops are not linked. So what I'm seeing is if I had my, my buy limit down here, a 1-to-1 typically, if it closes those two out, does it modify this stop? Because this limit order is closing two of our contracts off, and there'd be one contract. So what I want to see is this stop now linked to this order? It should be, since we put them on that way. But we're going to find out. Like I said, I'm not looking for profit on this. I'm looking to test this out. I want to move it up a little because I want it to get hit. Watch it not even go there. There we go. And see how it did not change the stop. So even though, now we know, even though if you're trading through TradingView, even though I put this stop order came on with the market order, okay, when you take a trade like that, because you could do it that way too. We're looking to, we're looking to sell. We're going to do a market order, and we're going to do a stop loss, okay, and then we would take the sell. So it would put the buy stop on there like it did when I did my trade. But notice that hitting the take profit closed out two contracts, it did not modify the stop. So you will have to go in and still do it manually. So again, the only way to automate this I'll do I think there's already TradingView videos out there, guys. I'll find a good one for you. Or Trade-A-Bait, sorry. Where, because I know I watched one where a guy went over all that, where you can put in the step down orders. Basically, you could sell, say you sell 5, you have a stop of 5, and then your first take profit, you close out 3. So when it closes out 3, you would have it like move down X amount of ticks, and you would close out 3 contracts, and then move your stop to halfway to break even. And then when it moves down to the next profit target, it closes out 1 contract, and it moves your stop to break even. That can be done in Trade-A-Bait. It cannot be done through TradingView. So the way TradingView works with the different brokers, it's up to what the broker wants you to be able to do. It's solely up to the broker. If the broker wants to allow that to be done that way, TradingView can set it up. So I haven't traded through TradingView with any other brokers. And I'm probably going to open another Forex.com account, one that is linked with TradingView, just so I can trade on TradingView through them instead of MetaTrader. So the orb hasn't really done much. So with ES, it has ES, the 15-minute, which I wouldn't have got in on. I'm waiting for the first half hour. So the 15-minute hits 3. I'll turn this back to the 10 o'clock time. Went too far. And that's a Lux Algo. Lux Algo Orb and Targets. The name's up there. Opening Range with Breakout and Targets by Lux Algo. That's the one I put on. There's several out there, but I like theirs. And you can turn off, if you show historic data, watch what happens to the charts. It changes. So the historic data runs all the way out to the end of the day. So if you show historic data, you'll see this is from yesterday. So it ran all the way through to this morning from yesterday at, 9:30. So turn the historic data off. It'll reset your chart. I've got mine set 9:30 to 10, UCT -4. I think that's the only thing I changed on it. You can change targets. You can show targets, hide targets. Target percent of range, that's your 50%. You can adjust that. So if we adjust that, it's going to push the targets out. You'll see them adjust down. So you can go to like 75, whatever you want to do. And that's going to push your targets. I left mine the way it was set up at the 50. They've got an EMA you can put on there. That's basically all the changes. It's just shut off historic data. So that's the way mine's set up. So see how ES on the 1 hour has only hit 1-to-1 so far. And NQ has not even hit 1-to-1. So ES has gone further. ES, that's what I'm saying. Most of the time ES had done better. So still nothing on NASDAQ. We're in the negative. Got our orders on. I'm not really looking to get anything else. It's 11:20. I'm leaving that Bitcoin trade on, but notice I move my stop tight on it. So this is what we'll do this week is, guys, I don't know what happened this morning. I could not get into Tradevate on any of my charts. I could get into Tradevate through Tradevate. I could get in through the broker fine. But for some reason, TradingView would not let me log into that account. And I had everything turned on. I tried here, my laptop, and my phone, and not one of them would do. And then finally my phone got in after like an hour of messing with it. So I apologize for that. But I didn't want to come on and just paper trade. So I'm up 626 on the day on this new eval account. They have a new challenge come out. I don't know if you guys are doing the challenges. It's good practice. But they have those leap challenges in TradingView. And the one they're doing here, June 2nd, it starts. Oh, that's probably that guy I texted. Yeah, I'm in now. I'm not going to look at his. So the guy responded to me, support, where I submitted that ticket where I couldn't get in. So anyways, there is a LEAP challenge. The LEAP challenges are practice. You get a 100K account for practice. This one's during June, and TradeStation is putting this one on. I can't remember who did last month. I don't remember if it was Pepperstone. I can't remember who it was, but whoever put it on last month, you could not trade in the U.S. U.S. traders couldn't trade. So basically, it's a competition. You get a 100K account. You get 1 month to trade it. You want to trade aggressively. It's not where you're looking for this, like 500 a day, 200 a day. That's not the trading you're going to do in there. You're going to max out and go aggressive. The people are crazy in there, what they're doing. I did one a couple months back. Took the 100K account, made like 25K. I was happy with that. Well, these other people were making, because I looked at past competitions and I saw people making like 20K, 30K. One competition, the highest was like 35K. And I'm like, well, that's pretty easy to do in a month on a 100K account. Oh, no. Whoever won it made like 300K in a month. So I don't know what they're doing, because they're not supposed to be using bots and stuff, but who knows? I was happy with my 25K in a month. But it was nowhere close to winning after these guys were, and I know they're over leveraging trades and all that. And I was trying not to. So I'm hoping Tyler gets in that, because he is out of school now. The problem is he doesn't want to get up. So he'll be trading afternoons and evenings. But he hasn't signed. I got to get him signed up. You do have to sign up before June 2nd. I think that's when let's see. Yeah, Pepperstone. So that last LEAP was through Pepperstone. And they are, that broker, if you're in the U.S., you can't trade. But you can look back. If you go back and look at the previous, I think you can just click on that one. I don't know if it'll show it in here. Probably not. But you can go back, click on that, and you can look and see what past competitions. They'll show like first place is 3,000, and they show the leaderboards. I'm trying to see, or is that their board? So it's the leaders board, like what they traded most. I did post something in the Discord on it. I think it's in the announcements section, yeah. So it's in here. Basically, this was 9. It starts the 2nd, so ignore the 9 days. But it is brought on by TradeStation, which I know some of you guys are using TradeStation. You're trading with 100,000 paper trading. I don't have a link up here for referral. If you're using TradingView, you just click on it and join it. There's the symbols you can trade. That's it. You can't trade anything else, so don't even try it. What you want to do is set up a list. Like I've got my red list for what I trade. And then for this, then I would set up a LEAP list. and the leap list would have just these instruments in there. So if you'll notice, you can trade like oil. Can I roll that up? There we go. So oil, you can do micro, standard. Okay. And then ES is, where's the other one? ES here is micro up here, and standard. NQ, micro, standard. Okay. Gold, micro, standard. Bitcoin is micro only. You got YM, micro, and standard. And then over here, you got the euro. M6E is euro. The currency pairs are labeled with 6. M6 would be micro, and then it's a currency pair. So E is euro, A is Australian dollar, N is the Kiwi. That's how they go. So everything has micro and standard except Bitcoin, euro, and that should be Ethereum. Those three. They do not have standard. They just have the micro on there. But that's all you can trade is those. And then they got the payouts on them, like what the payout is. So first place is like 8,500, 7 grand per second. But like I said, I looked back at previous competitions. I don't have that pulled up in here. Where do I want to put this? Let me move this back over here. But you can go in, click out on that link, and look back through previous competitions is what you want to do. I'll pull it over real quick, and then I want to get back out to the charts. But it'll show the competitions, the past leap competitions and all that. Because what I did was clicked on previous competitions and looked to see out what the highest, like what the average was from highest down. And back in the day, they were making like I said, 20 to 50 for the top, like 50 positions. But it's changed a lot because I don't know what they're doing. They're just trading really, really over leveraging. And there's some high risk going on with that, which is fine. But that's what you get all the time, which I hate because people should be trading it realistically. But the reality is people are trying to go for just making that. They're not trying to go for consistency at that point on those challenges. So I'm going to do the same thing. You pretty much throw a lot of rules out the window. All right, so we're finally going to break on gold, or it's wanting to. It's past that low, so I can say it's making a lower low. It's in the process of making that lower low. It's pushed past that low. So this is using just your chart techniques. I'm going to pull this off just so I can look at these two together. So notice how ES did hit and close past the first level, but NQ has not. So still in the negative, was almost stopped out there. And remember, I chose to do a quarter stop on my stop loss instead of half this time. Well, the little head and shoulders didn't really pan out too well. So oil is making another run up to that 4-hour high, basically. Yeah, I'm going to draw an aggressive line on it. Let's take this off. It's too bad everything's green. The only time I would get in this long is it would have to come up and break the top of the zone. Or if it pulls back and gives another buy. So if it happens to pull back down, the upper bar would have to turn red in order for it to give another buy. So if it pulls back down and turns and goes back up, but that upper bar does not turn red and go back green, you will not get a buy in here. So the only time I would buy is if it pulls back down and it starts to turn, and we may or may not get a buy. I'd get in long, trading it back up here to this new line right here. That's our current high. Of course, if it breaks that, then we'd trade it to the top. Yeah, the power course has a lot of other stuff in it. It's just taking a lot of time to put together all the videos and stuff. So I'll look for long in that if it pulls, but it, like I said, it's, what are we looking at, 11:34. I'd like to be done by noon. What do we got? So right now, if I close out, I'd be at 7:35. If I close everything out. So I'm still holding it at 626 locked in. So if I close out right now, I'd be at 708. I'm not looking to close out my, winners and runners, and even NASDAQ will let it go. So I'll lose back some on NASDAQ if it does stop me out. Switch back over to the screen. Yeah, see there it went on oil. Doesn't want to wait. I was hoping it would break through and come down and, test about midway between this low area over here to where it was, which was this high. I was hoping it would pull back down about 50% of that, which is really almost where that line is, to get in on a buy, and it just decided to pop. So it's testing that high. I'd expect it to, as it's testing this, to possibly pull back. Either give us a bounce there and go, or it could, pull past a little, test up here again, and then go short still. So those are the plans you have to plan for. Is it going to do that? Break back through here, test the backside, and then go down, staying below that because that is a 4-hour zone we're in. So being in the middle of zones are kind of tricky. Or is it going to do this? Test that and then give a bounce break. So that's what you'd have to plan for on these. On this one, it's going to do one of the two. Now it could skip up the backside. That's your third plan, was if it comes up, tests this, comes back and breaks, okay, but then it goes and hits the backside. So those are the three things that it could do. And I know it looks like a mess, but that's what you have to plan. It's going to do one of the three. Now, it could just shoot. I don't ever plan on them just to skyrocket and just take off, but that could happen. But you look at your if-then scenarios, and you have to decide, what are you going to do? So I'm not in. There it goes. That's why I said it could break and pop. So I'm not in now. I'd have to wait for it to pull back to get in long. I'm not going to get in right now. But it looks good, but I missed it. $750 on the day. So this is one of those 50K accounts. That's what we're up right now. I moved the thing. Normally I just show the our current trades. But this one, I wish we would have caught oil on that. So as it tested that 4-hour zone, it just popped. I want to see what the 1 minute looks like on that. Turn you back to 3. I just want to see what the 1 minute candles look like on that. I like where gold's at. We're up still 100. Oh, man, there goes oil. You guys know how bad I'm itching to get in that. It took off. That last candle, I'm like, if I get in, I'm just afraid it's going to pull back. And I don't want to get in just to be in the negative right off the bat. So. And I don't gamble and think that, oh, that's the highest it's going to go. It's going to turn around. I know people that do. I don't do that. They try and trade the retracements. I'd wait for a turn and a couple, a low and a lower high before I'd short the retracement back to this trade line, if that's what's going to happen. So unfortunately, that took off without me. I don't know if anybody's in oil. No, John, I've never had issues with the trailing drawdown, but I monitor it. So right now, I do have Tradevate open, and it's on the other screen, and I am watching my drawdown. So, but I've never had an issue. You just have to close partial, and you have to move your stop. You can't give it a lot of room. So you do have to change up your trade style a little bit. I don't leave stuff go overnight. If I do, I make sure I get up a couple times during the night and move my stops. The reason why, if you have a big trade on overnight and it goes, so like on this $50,000 account, if I had a trade on last night and it went up to say 2,500, then my trailing drawdown is going to move to the 50K mark. And then if I never move my stop, and that trade, say, went up 2,500, 2,600, my stop was where it is, and I fell asleep. And so it went from putting this, I put the trade on, the stop's there where I can lose $200 even, just 200. But it goes up $2,500. So now my stop, now my drawdown is 50K. If it pulls back to 50K, I am done. But if I don't wake up and move that stop or close out part of that position, and it goes all the way back down and hits my stop, then I've blown the account. And I've seen people do that. I know people that have done that. They placed a big trade and then not monitored it, walked away, and their account went up. And then next thing you know, they're like, well, I blew this account. I don't even know why. And it's because they didn't, wake up and move their stop or close partial. So it is something that if I place a trade and I'm going to bed, I will do just what I'm doing here, like put on, and unfortunately have to place it through Tradevate, so that while I'm sleeping, if it goes and hits take profit 1, if I put on 10 contracts, it goes and hits take profit 1, it closes out, say, even 6 contracts. That's all I got. So it hits take profit 1, closes out 6 contracts, and moves my stop to say break even. And then when it moves up into the second profit target, I close out 2 contracts, move my stop up. And then the next profit target, I'd close out 1, and I'd have 1 runner, and moves my stop. So that's what you would want to happen while you're sleeping. And the only way to do that here is through, you'd have to go through Tradevate, or you'd have to just set a bunch of alarms on TradingView to wake you up. So, but yeah, you definitely have to monitor your drawdown. But I've never had it happen. I did have it happen a couple times, but that's what I'm talking to you about right now, where I placed them at night, and they were, and I just let it all go. Didn't close partial. So those did come back to bite me. So when I do it, it's this right here. I'm up 702. If I closed out everything now, I'm up 702 on the day. And I just started this one last night. So I don't, I mean, I've done the 1 days. I did it for Tyler. I've passed 25K once for him, and you're only looking for 1,500. So like right now, I'd be halfway there. So I've done that for him, in a day, and I've done these 50Ks in a day. I know we did a live. It was a couple months ago. I think it was before the end of the year, and I had purchased another eval to pass. It was around Christmas or something. I don't know, November, December. And I purchased a couple more to add, so that I started off the beginning of this year with a couple more PAs stacked in. And it was one I did live like this, but by the end of the day, it was passed. There, we're getting a little pullback on oil. I'm surprised it waited so long today to pop, but so yeah, on the evals, you just have to be very aware of your drawdown. What do I got? Oh, that was that little Bitcoin trade down here. We got $19 on this little Bitcoin trade. I'm glad I tried that, though, to see if that worked. Yeah, so I've got 2 big monitors. I had 3, and it was too much. These are like 42. These are 42-inch TVs. Monitors, and I had 3 and set them up vertically, and it was all right, but my neck got kind of tired. So I was putting stuff up in the top half of the of them like that I didn't. So when I turned them sideways, what did I have? 3 charts. So I had 3 of these 42-inch TVs vertically. And basically, I had 3 charts on each. I tried 4. And then what I had to do, though, was only do 3 charts or 2 charts in the lower half. Because, like I said, I was looking up like this, and it was just too much. So I put, like, a news. I had news in one upper half and I'm like, I got a TV over there for that. So I ended up putting a different bracket on it, wall mount bracket, so I could turn the TV. And I'd have the Discord on another because I was popping charts in there left and right while we were trading. I used to have 8 monitors, but they were smaller, 19-inch. Here, I'm doing a little cleaning house here while we're waiting. All right, so we're sitting at 113. It's all gold right now. Certainly not NASDAQ. This takes me back. Look at that. 8 monitors. These 4 in the front here, those are the ones I'm trading on. And then the other 6, these are actually, oh no, 1, 2, 3, that's 9. This is all currency pairs though. 9 currency pairs here. Unfortunately, the middle ones you can't see a lot of. But that's, as you notice, you see lines on the chart on the bottom of these. This is back in 2004, or 2006, sorry. 2004, we didn't have that. 2006 is when we did that. So the indicator was a little different, but basically same concept. Higher time frames on the lower time frame, and it would put buy and sells on the chart. So, but that's old. That's why this picture looks bad. I guess it doesn't look bad for you guys. Laptop, in case the computer went down, and they were all cable. So, also had battery backup on them, and news on the TV here. That was just another monitor, another computer that I was running like an EA on, which is a script that trades. And then, of course, you'd have your phone logged in. You can always call your broker if everything goes down. If you don't have your broker, if you guys are trading live, it's one thing to prop trade. But if you're trading a live account and you don't have your broker's phone number in your phone, I'd have to say shame on you. Because you should. Because if something happens and your computer goes down and you can't log in on your phone, you need to be able to call your broker and have them close out your trades. I've done that before. Because in Florida, of course, we'd have power outages quite a bit where we were. We were in Naples. And had my first phone that opened with a keyboard, HTC phone, and I could trade on that. So that was fun. I used to go out on my boat. I had a little 17-foot ski and fish boat, take it out to the reef. And I was only going about 2-3 miles out. But my phone actually still got signal. And I would sit there and trade while I was fishing. Well, tell me that's not fun. That was a lot of fun. But typically I would trade the morning, and then at 11 o'clock I'd be done and go down to the boat and hop in and go. So, but there were a couple mornings where we went out and traded on the boat, a couple of us. All right, so there's that pullback on the oil that we're getting. So it's going to, hopefully it'll go all the way down, test the top of that zone. if I were to get into that, I don't like really getting in trades after noon. But if I was to look to trade oil, I'd be looking for a bounce down there at the top of that zone. And if I hopped in, it would be light on contracts because of time of day and then the risk factor. And then I'm going to be leaving here about 1 o'clock. So I have to decide if I'm going to let these run. I don't like closing my winners, which is gold right now. Because can you imagine if it pops and goes? If I shut it down? That's why we leave the runners on. So far, it just hasn't really done a whole lot. It's gone back down to level 3, and that's it. You know, which it hit earlier, almost. I mean, it finally touched it. And if I had more contracts on, because I only put 5 on. So if I would have closed out 3 here, then I would have closed out 1 here. But since I closed out 5, 3, I closed out 1 here. So I did almost do that. I just didn't let it get all the way down there. About the only thing I can do now is maybe inch my stop down on it. I'm going to keep it above this high for the rest of the day until we see. If it breaches, if gold breaks through, if it happens to break through and get down here to, and closes, I want it to close past that level 4, then I'd move my stop down here to level 3. So right now I've got my stop. Remember I was going to trail 2 back. Right now my stop is almost 1 level back from where it hit. It hasn't even closed past that. It just hit it. So I just think we're going to get a pullback over to this area. We could dial down to 1 minute, see what it kind of looks like, see how tight it's getting. Let me reset the chart. But it's gotten tight in there. Okay. So we have a definite low that this thing needs to break. That's already on. And then we have a highway up here, but then we also have a few highs in this area. So I'd mark that one. That if it breaks through this area, the move might be over, the short. And I set this up. You guys can set this up to like not show. Like this right here. You can have it current time frame and above, below, whatever. Or only show on the 3 minute, which is what I had that. So if I change to a 1 minute or 5, you won't see the profit tool. Yeah, that was my setup back in the day. I started with 4 monitors, and then I still got them. I don't know. I have a problem letting stuff go. They're in the garage. I haven't used them in years. I used them when we first moved back to Ohio in 2010, and I had them for a while. And then I went with 1 big monitor. So you see how gold's starting to try and break that area. That's why we buttoned up. Okay, so we have a buy on oil. I'm going to go ahead and take it.
Order filled.
And let me turn that down. So I am going to look to do a tight stop, though. You guys know you can hold Alt and click on the charts. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. But Alt and clicking on a chart will blow it up like really quick. You can just hold them all, scan through all the charts real quick. All right, so I need to get a stop on here. I'm going to keep it tight. So entered on the buy signal. I'm going to keep my stop down here below that level. So we're just going to put it past that. I know that I can be taken out in this. Okay. But for me, this is late in the day. I mean, it's before noon. I don't like taking them afternoon. So I want to keep my stop down tight to this. I'm not going to go back and use a low back here because I don't want to give up profit today. So that's all I'd want to give up right there. My first take profit level, I need to consider it not breaching this high. It may not break that high. So that high needs to be broke for me to say it's making a higher high. So it may only go to the inside top, which instead of marking this right here, the underside of that doji candle, I would come down here. Spinning top, doji, whatever you want to call it. That's considered more of a spinning top because there's just not a line bar, but spinning top, doji, whatever you want to call it. So I would mark this as the inside top. That it may stall out there. I don't know. That's not really enough profit to take. As we look to see where 1-to-1 is, you know, stops down here. So see how our 1-to-1 is, you know, not quite up there. So I'd want to consider, you know, closing partial up there because it may not get higher than that. I would love it for it to get higher since we're in it, right? Long. Would love for it to break that high and just keep going and going and going. The reality of it is it may not break that high. It may pull up there. If I can grab the tool. It may just pull up there and test that and then go back down to test, you know, this line again. And then may go up again. May not break it then. This may be what it does the rest of the day. So you have to consider, again, everything that could happen. What might happen? I'm already in. What could happen right now? There's the noon, 12 o'clock alarm. I mean, it could pull back down and test this low right now and then bounce. It could break through that level. Come back to test the backside. It could go short. That would be my losing trade. Okay, my stop's down here. So it could take me out. And if it does that, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be happy, but I'm not going to be super disappointed either. Low risk with 3 contracts. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 on here. Yeah, I don't know why they did away with that. So we're going to sell limit of 2, and that'll close out 2. So if I get that alert on my phone, you know, once I leave that limit's been triggered, I need to log in and change this order down to 1, my stop order, and then I'll move the stop to like a halfway point. That's if that gets triggered. So right now I'm okay accepting that loss. Oh, there's the trades we have on. What do we got? 4? We got 4. So gold, we're still up 149 on the good. Oil, we just got in. And then NQ, still nothing. Still negative a little. And then that's that little Bitcoin trade where we tried to put the orders tied together. That hasn't gone anywhere. So that'll be the last trade I take. I was really hoping NASDAQ would do something, but it's had other plans. Yeah, on these 42, you guys are looking at one of the 42-inch monitors, so it's decent looking at these. I know it's a little smaller for you guys because you're watching it on whatever, your phone or a TV or whatever, or monitor. But staring at the charts, watching 6 instruments like this is okay. Watching 8 is a little too much. because they're really, really small then. So I found 6 best. 4's awesome. If you go down to 4 charts, the quad view. So like right now, I'm not really watching ES. Okay. It would, if I go down to 4, it's going to open these 4 right here is what it does. It goes like this. If I open up a setup of 2, it'll actually take the left 2 charts, gold and Bitcoin. If I go down to 2, if I go down to 4, it takes the next 2, which would be over here. So what I would do is swap these out, and I would change this middle top to NASDAQ and then this other one to ES. I would basically swap those 2 charts. And then if I go down to 4 now, I guess I should have done that earlier, then we have these 4 charts that I'm actually in. You guys will have to remind me to do that. I don't always remember to do that because I'm typically watching all 6. Bitcoin did break that previous low, just no bounce back up through, no follow through. And gold has gotten tight in there. And we got another sell. So really waiting on gold to just push. I need it to push past 3 and close past 3 so I can move my stop tighter. And my stop will go above these 2 highs right here. I'll probably keep it above that wick. And it'll probably get moved right there. I don't know if I want to do that yet. I'd rather break the low first before I do that and give it a little room still. And I'm going to remove the 2 alarms on that other one's already triggered. This one I'm going to close, delete both those. If you guys do the orb indicator, it does have alarms on, and it did work the other day. Is where you come in, where's it at? Select it. And then what I did was this right here. Outside of the channel. So basically, you'll come in and put a high. You need that high right there, and then the low. What were we taking out of? Oh, I was taking out of oil. All right, so bad trade there. It just wicked me out. Once per bar close, and you need to put the high level and the low level of your high-low. So you can use it pretty much on any breakout strategy. And then the alerts will trigger. So I'm out of oil. It whipped down, took me out. What did we lose on that? So I don't want to lose any more on that. I got to go look. Oh, 45. I don't think MC's in here. Says he picked up a good trade on the Aussie and oil. He's been stepping out in the currency market, which is good to see. Currency markets move different. We typically will get good follow through in the currency market. And you can trade the currency market here in your futures account with the prop firms. You're just trading the like the Canadian dollar futures, Australian dollar futures. That's all you're doing. It moves the same. What did I say? I lost 45. Watch it bounce there. I mean, it's pulled back to that line. So, let's see see we got taken out around there. Not that big of a deal, 45 on a loss. But that's part of why I went in light. Really unsatisfied with oil. Or gold, sorry. Gold and NASDAQ. So don't forget, we have FOMC 2 o'clock. So we might see some of this get tight and tighter and tighter. Till then. I'm going to look and see what else we got here. So if you are looking at currencies, we have Kiwi and Aussie. We have some news tonight. Light news. I'm going to change my filter back over. I don't like looking at the yellow news. So the Kiwi at 510. We have a speaker. And then, so tomorrow morning, we got GDP. We basically got unemployment claims for the U.S. For tomorrow, that'd be at 8:30 in the morning. So I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll look to trade it live. Home sales at 10 a.m. And then we have 3 p.m. We have a speaker for the British pound. I'm not going to, I don't know, I might do some afternoon trading on the pound. But then in the evening at 7:30 and 9:30, we have the Japanese yen. We have CPI and retail sales on the Australian dollar, 9:30. So should be some good trading tomorrow night, 7:30 and 9:30. I won't be home, so I'll be trading that on my phone, both those. Yeah, look at oil. It just wicked down there twice past that trend line, trade line, and it's holding right now. For Friday, we have 8:30 Canadian dollar GDP, along with our core price index for the U.S. dollar. Those both come out at 8:30. So the Canadian dollar news, they're with us. They're open New York session as their start of their market. Consumer sentiment at 10. I was just looking at the Chinese news coming out. So don't forget next week to look at the calendar ahead of schedule. I mean, that's something you should always be aware of. So just, we're technical traders, and you should have fundamental awareness. So you should know when the news releases come out. So basically trading the charts off technical analysis. We're analyzing these off the technicals, the moves, the highs, lows, the swings, and then, of course, any indicator you would have. But you need fundamental awareness. You need to be aware of what news is coming out and when. The kid in the coffee shop, I've told you guys this before, sometimes I'd be sitting there. I used to send him every morning. Here's the news for the day. Here's the news for the day. Don't forget about FOMC. Don't forget about Powell speaking. And used to send him those times. And then I just quit doing it. And because he wasn't really listening to anything. So, and I remember time and time again, he'd come over and go, "What just happened? I was in a trade. And what just happened? It hit my stop." I was like, "Well, it's FOMC. Non-farm. Got into a trade once before non-farm. I don't know what happened. I got in all of a sudden. I'm like, dude, you're not checking the calendar. It's there. I mean, it's free. It's online. You can find several of them. Every broker has a calendar up on their site. So why not take a peek and see what could affect your trade for the day?" Right? I mean, that's what a smart person would do. Know what's coming out. So next week, we definitely have, non-farm. And that's next Friday. So typically I'll dial down to just red news next week. So the second, we've got like PMI, manufacturing PMI. We got Powell speaking at 1. Those are both Monday. So Tuesday for U.S. news is JOLTS. That's going to move the market. That's our job openings. And then we actually have 9:30, the Australian dollar. So I can plan my week ahead of time. You guys have heard me say this before. So Monday I'll be trading, 10 o'clock. We've got manufacturing PMI come out. So I know that should move the market some. Might move it a lot, might move it a little. But I know volume should step in. Okay? When volume steps in, movement happens. Volatility comes along with volume. And then that volatility and volume helps create momentum. Momentum, we would like for momentum to pick a direction, and we can capitalize on that momentum. We can get in and we can get out, take our chunk, and that's it. That's how it works. Every time. That's how we want it to work. We want that volume and momentum to actually pick a direction for us, and that'd be great. Pick a direction. Which way you heading? It doesn't always head one way and just keep going. Sometimes it heads one way and turns around. So we have to be aware that it could turn at any moment. So Tuesday, though, we have the job openings, and then Australian dollar at 9:30 at night, GDP. So Tuesday, I'm going to trade both. I'll trade in the morning. This is next week. And then I'll trade at 9:30 at night. What I like to do is news on the Australian dollar comes out at 9:30. I like to start looking at 8 o'clock, about an hour and a half beforehand. I'm going to look at the power trade signals and see if I need to close this order, see if I can find a setup to get in somewhere between 8 and 9:30 and already be in a trade before news comes out. And if I can get into a trade before news, and if I can pull partial and close out and make some profit and pull that off the table before the news comes out, then that's even better. Okay, so I'll start looking about 8. Wednesday is ADP. So that goes along with non-farm. So ADP, 8:15. It's up 15 minutes earlier. This is when you will see the Forex market move a lot more than futures. So these are the kind of news releases, the red ones, that really move the Forex market. So along with 8:15 non-farm for U.S. dollar, 9:45 the Canadian dollar. We got the rate statement. Basically, we got the rates coming out from the Bank of Canada. So at 8:15, I'll be looking at things tied to the U.S. dollar, which could even be gold and, Bitcoin. But at 9:45, I'll specifically be looking at the Canadian dollar. So that chart will be up on Wednesday. And then now we got news at 10:30 as well, and 10 for the U.S. dollar, 10:30 for Canadian. Thursday would be euro at 8:15. So that would be like the euro dollar, or in this case, futures, it would be the euro futures. 8:30 is the unemployment claims, and then 8:45 back on the euro. But then Friday, don't forget we have unemployment rate. So non-farm payroll is our unemployment rate change. All that data comes out, and it is the biggest news event in the market. And then also the Canadian dollar has their employment change number. So I will probably, I don't know what I'll have other than I will have the Canadian dollar up and probably the euro or the pound, something else tied to the US dollar. And then, gold's normally up, and I just have to decide what else I want up on that, if I want one of the indices or what. And what I'm going to do is next week, I'm going to do the same thing I'm doing this week. We're going to trade normal in the morning, and then at that 10 o'clock, we're going to put on the orb on the ES, S&P and NASDAQ, and pick one of those to trade. So we're losing back some on NASDAQ. NASDAQ's about ready to take us out, and we're going to lose back 197, 180 something. All right, so I've got a scoot. It's 12:19, and I've got to get ready because I got to be out of here at 1 o'clock for a meeting at 1:30. So right now it's not looking good on NASDAQ. We're going to lose back about $200, somewhere in there if it goes. So not happy on that. It did not even go to level 1. Let me go down to ES real quick. So there's ES. So the S&P actually went and closed past level 1. So remember, if it closes past a level, that's when I want to move my stop. So the stop would have been moved to break even, which would have been one of these two candles here if we got in on ES. So you'd still be in the trade, but about ready to be taken out, but no loss on there. And then, but for our NASDAQ trade, just didn't work out great. So we'll try it again tomorrow. I'll keep placing it on this account, but as you see what happens, I did good on the other strategies, taking the power trade signals and then taking the orb today on this. Ended up, this is going to lose back quite a bit because remember I was up about 700. Right now, if I close everything out, it'll be 533 if I just close it all right now. So I'm going to let it go where it may sit, but I'm going to lose back 200 of that. We've already lost back 145. No big deal on the oil trade. Took a buy signal. It just wasn't ready yet. It just pulled back. And then that Bitcoin trade, I'm leaving it on. It just, we were doing that to test the order. So the big one's gold. That panned out the best for the day. Locking in over 400 here. And then we still have a runner on that is 113. So where the stop is compared to the entry, it's over 50%. So we're going to get another, $60 in there. So not quite, almost 500, not quite locked in on that. So gold's been the winner as far as the moves today, as far as what I got in. Okay. And the Australian dollar. Oh, let me forget about that. So I'll set my charts back on the 6 view because that's what it'll be set up tomorrow. But gold I'm going to let go, leave my stop, and then really we need it to push past this low before we move it. So, all right, guys, have a good day. Don't give back everything you've locked in today if you've locked in profit. There's really no news to trade tonight, but I like to wait until about 8 o'clock and then about 8 to 9 looking for an entry, 8 to 9 and then on to 10. So for about 2 hours only is what I like to do at night. So I'll be in Discord